Come to seated on your knees with your toes tucked under, and your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your heart. Start to practice two-part breath. So you breathe in, feel your belly rise underneath your right hand, and then your chest rise underneath your left hand. As you breathe out, feel your belly pull in underneath your right hand, and your chest fall underneath your left hand. Inhale, fill your belly, fill your chest. Exhale, feel your belly pull in and your chest follow. We'll keep going like this for 3 more rounds at your own pace. And keep practicing the two-part breath and come to your hands and your knees. Untuck your toes. Point your index fingers forward, breathe in, and as you breathe out, arch your spine, look to your belly button. Inhale, lift your sitting bones, drop your belly, pull your heart forward, lift your chin. And exhale, round your back into cat pose as you press your hands into the mat, arch your spine. Inhale, lift your sitting bones, drop your belly, pull your heart forwards. And exhale, round your back. Come to neutral spine. Tuck your toes under again, sit your hips back to your heels, walk your hands forward. Come right up onto your fingertips, tent your fingers, keep your elbows lifted, and drop your chest down. Walk your hands back in. Come to hands and knees and step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. You might have your back toes tucked under or the top of your foot on the mat, whatever feels most comfortable. And allow your hips to press forward as you practice two-part breath. And press into your front foot. So you can bring your right knee back alongside your left knee and switch sides. Left foot forward to the outside of your left hand. Make sure your right knee is comfortable. Choose the shape of your back foot. As you reach your chest forwards, lift out of your shoulders and let your hips press forwards. And press into your hands to bring your hips back. Bring your left knee alongside your right knee. And this time step your right foot forward between your hands. Your back toes tucked under. Lift your chest, interlace your fingers, place your palms on your thigh and press your hands into your thigh to lift your chest forwards. Create space in the front of your body. And bring your hands down to the mat as you straighten your front leg. You might have to shimmy your heel forwards a little bit so your hips stay up over your back knee. Lengthen your chest forward just like you were doing, and then hinge at your hips a little bit more. You might walk your hands forwards. You might have them tented up or maybe your palms on the mat. And walk your hands back in. Bend into your front knee. So you can bring your right knee alongside your left knee and bring your left knee forwards. Make sure your right knee is comfortable. Choose the shape of your back foot as you interlace your fingers the opposite way than the first time. Hands up onto your thigh. Press your hands into your thigh and lift your chest. Your hands down to the mat. Straighten your front leg as much as it goes. Flex your toes towards your knee. Lengthen your heart forwards and walk your hands forward. So keep lifting your breastbone forward as opposed to rounding your back in. You might be on your fingertips, or again, your palms might be on the mat. And walk your hands in, bend your front knee, come to hands and knees, and then tuck all 10 toes under, lift up and back into down dog. You might pedal your heels to the mat one at a time, back and forth. And then find a position in down dog that you can rest in stillness and in strength. Your knees might be bent and your heels might be a little bit lifted, or maybe your heels are touching the mat and your legs are towards straight. Press into your hands so that your belly comes closer to your thighs, and then tilt your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the sides of your body and your low back. And as you breathe in, raise your right leg into the air. Stack your right hip up, lift it as high as you can, and let your left shoulder drop. And so you twist, look underneath your right arm. Keep your right leg lifted and your right hip stacked, but square off your shoulders. You might notice more intensity in the back of your left leg here. So use the strength of your core and bend your right knee. Lift your knee up as high as you can in the air. Press your left heel into the mat and press your hands forward and down. Square off your hips and step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Your left knee down. Your left hand off the mat a little bit and place your right hand on your right thigh. Twist your heart towards the side. That's option 1, stay here. Option 2, raise your right arm into the air and circle it back and pick up your back foot. Pull your heel in towards your hip for a deep thigh stretch. If you have a hold of your foot, let it go. Circle your right hand down towards the mat and heel to your right foot so it's on the inside of your right hand. Straighten your right leg. You might shimmy your heel a little further forwards here. Flex your toes towards your knee and walk both hands to the outside of your right leg and reach forwards and down. And walk your hands back. Bend into your front knee. Right knee alongside your left knee. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Settle into stillness as quickly as you can. And then press your hands into the mat. Lift and lengthen. And breathe in, raise your left leg. Stack your hip up as you lift your left leg as high as it'll go. And then drop your right shoulder down, twist so you look underneath your left armpit. And keep your left hip stacked up, but strengthen your core by seeing if you can square off your shoulders and press your torso back towards your thighs. Might intensify the stretch in the back of your right leg, and then bend your left knee. Lift your knee up as high as you can. Square off your hips, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Your right knee down. Your right hand off the mat a little bit, and your left hand onto your left thigh as you twist. Lift up and away from your right shoulder as you reach up towards the ceiling with your left hand. Option 1. Option 2, circle your hand back, pick up your foot, and draw your heel into your hip as you open your chest. If you have a hold of your foot, let it go. Circle your left hand back down towards the mat and heel toe your left foot in. Extend your left leg straight. You might shimmy your heel forwards and walk both hands forwards into the outside of your foot. And walk your hands back. And bend into your front knee and then step back into downward facing dog. 5 breaths in down dog. As you breathe in, come forwards into plank pose. You might have to slide your feet back a little bit. Have your hands shoulder width distance or a little bit wider apart with your index fingers facing forwards. Lift the back of your thighs up towards the ceiling. And then press into your upper back, but also pull your heart forward a little bit to access your core muscles. So as slowly as you can, with keeping your head lifted, and then slowly lower yourself to the mat. You might bring your knees down. And when you're all the way down, untuck your toes. Reach your hands alongside your body and interlace your fingers. Let your hands rest on your low back to start with. But shrug your shoulders onto your back so your chest lifts. And lift your hands up away from your back if there's space. Press your pubic bone down into the floor and float your legs up. See if there's space to continually lift your chest up off the mat. Draw your shoulders back. It's like you're curling and pulling your heart forwards as you lift your legs. Another 5 breaths. And come down, stack your hands, and rest your forehead on your hands. And roll over onto your back. And lie down with the soles of your feet on the floor. And have your heels in, close to your hips. Press your feet into the mat, lift your hips up, then bring one shoulder and the other underneath your body and interlace your fingers again. Press down with your hands as you lift your chest and lift your hips up. Press equally into the inside and the outside edges of your feet as you continue to lift your hips and your chest up off the floor as you press your arms into the mat. And keep your hips lifted. And let go of your hands, bring your shoulders out, and slowly lower yourself down. Let your knees knock together, have your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Your right hand onto your belly and your left hand onto your heart. And practice your 2-part breath. Heel toe your feet in, so they're about hip width distance apart, and raise your right leg into the air. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Pick your legs up. And hold on to the back of your left leg or below your left knee. Option to stay here. Or you can bring your right knee into your right elbow crease and your right foot into your left elbow crease. Cradle your shin in and your left foot down so it's either on the mat with your knee bent, or extend your leg somewhere towards straight for a reclined pigeon pose. If you straighten your left leg, bend it so the sole of your foot comes to the mat. Whichever version you're in, let go of your leg. Bring both of your feet to the mat in tripod pose for a couple of breaths, knees together, feet wide. And lift your knees apart. So you can raise your left leg up, cross it over your right thigh, and pick your legs up. And choose to stay here. Or you can bring your left foot into your right elbow crease, your left knee into your left elbow crease, right leg, sole of your foot on the mat or somewhere towards straight. If you straightened your right leg, bend it. Sole of your foot on the floor. Release your legs and come once again into tripod pose. Feet wide, knees together. And keep your feet wide and lift your knees apart. And let both knees go over towards the right. You can cactus your arms so that your chest is open. And try and relax your shoulders and your legs as much as you can. Lift both knees back up to center. A couple of breaths, neutral, both knees up towards the ceiling. And allow both knees to go to the left. Bring both knees back up to center. And extend your legs out and your arms out in the most comfortable position that you can find for Shavasana. Let go of your two-part breath. Just breathe in a way that comes most naturally to you. Once you allow yourself to settle into stillness. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let all the air go out of your mouth. Do that a few more times at your own pace. As you start to move your hands and your feet. Bend your knees so both of your feet come to the floor. Roll over onto one side. And press yourself up to your comfortable seat. Draw your hands together either in front of or on top of your heart. And take a moment of appreciation for taking the time to practice today. Appreciation for yoga itself and all of the students and teachers who've come before us. May practice serve you well.